Where my girls at? Where my girls at? Independent, free spirit. Ooh, it's something serious. Where my girls at? We ain't linked up in a cool minute. Where my girls at? It's going down, down. Where my girls at? It's going down, down. It's going down tonight. We going out tonight. Yeah, right. We going out tonight. It's going down tonight. Yeah, right. It's going down tonight. We going out tonight. Yeah, right. We going out tonight. It's going down tonight. Yeah, right.
Yes, yes. Where my girls at? Where my girls at? Where my girls at? I'm ready. 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 It's Tuesday, and I'm excited to be here with you guys today. It's such a great day in the Baltimore area. It was sunny. It was beautiful. Woke up a little cloudy. Turned into be a very sunny day. It's challenging when we talk about Roe versus Wade. I'm just telling you, there's a lot of challenges out there with that one in particular for sure. But we're here on 910 AM, the Superstation, WFDF out of Detroit, and everybody's here. Everybody's here. We might be a little confused, but that's okay. We might be a little messy, but that's okay. We may not know what's actually going on every day, but that's okay because we're here to have each other's back, and we're super excited about it. We're excited about the show today. You know, I love it when we bring on more super bad women that are showing us over and over and over again. There's a lot out there for ambitious women to grow. There's a lot of us to do the change, the differences that are coming for us. I'm so excited. Okay, so today in our house, we had the last of the family leave. Sad times, sad times, sad times. We had like 12 people spending the night here for the last 2 or 3 nights. And our son and his girlfriend left today. And so now we're back, just me and Ken. Talk about the empty nesters as we talk about Mother's Day is coming up. So we got a lot of mothers to recognize, a lot of sisters to recognize, a lot of aunties to recognize. You know, this is the week when everybody buys cards, everybody buys flowers, everybody makes a phone call. So if you haven't planned out what you're going to do for your mothers, let me give you a piece of advice. Appreciate the mothers, appreciate your girlfriends, and appreciate somebody that's close to you. Take the time. Mother's Day is the busiest connecting day, period, of all the holidays. It's Mother's Day, and it should be, So I'm very excited about that. Chris, what's going on with you? Let's go down to Chris out of Detroit.
Hey, everybody. Excited to be here every single day from 6 to 7 p.m. Oh, my goodness. I'm excited about our guest that's coming on today, Gloria, for sure. And, of course, you know, the news, everything on the news today, at least the little that I caught, is talking about the Roe versus Wade decision and how the Supreme Court are looking at that particular case, and it was leaked. Now, who leaked it? We don't know. Are they going to find out who leaked that they are thinking about overturning it? I mean, that right there, I know it has been on the agenda, you know, of the Republicans for a long time. And it is probably one of the most controversial issues, period, hands down. You want to start a fight at the dinner table? Talk about Roe versus Wade. You want to be in a conversation at lunch and somebody is eavesdropping? You talking about Roe versus Wade. And you know what? It's real interesting that came out today, because on tomorrow, we're going to talk about teenage pregnancy and what that's looking like. And our guest is going to be phenomenal. And she's going to talk about, you know, getting pregnant at 15 years old and having an abortion. And so her story is, when I tell you, it's definitely one that you want to lean into. And I will add, she is a first lady. And I will add that she is okay with sharing her story and how it led up to what she is doing now. So everybody has an opinion on Roe versus Wade. And that has to be a show, because we could talk about that for a week and still
Oh my
not
gosh.
exhaust, what's going on with that. So yeah, that's what I was, kind of thinking about today. And it's just going to be interesting to see what happens in the days to come. Back to you, Gloria.
Right. Yeah, I think so. I think this is going to be a lot of conversation. And again, we have another one of those topics where, it leads to money, it leads to politics, it leads to power, and then it leads to what's right for the person, what's right for your neighbor, what's right for your brother's keeper. So it's quite an interesting conversation. And again, another way to split the nation once again. Sabrina, what's going out there in Ohio with that big old smile on your face? I'll give you energy if you ain't got there right now.
Well, I'm just thinking about this Roe versus Wade situation and how that sets us back 50 years, and that we're having this conversation at this point in time is it's just it turns my stomach. It turns my stomach that we are here, because if they overturn that, they could overturn just about anything. And that, quite honestly, frightens me. Y'all, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I know we just got to stay prayerful, be as positive as possible, but write your slaters, get involved in the system. When we see what's going on in these elections all over the country, while we're being distracted by a slap of Will Smith and Jada, they're passing laws right before our very eyes. So let's just keep the main thing, and be very, very cognizant of our world around us. But I'm glad to be here with the Voice of Friendship. We got issues, baby, every day. We got issues, and we're talking about them. Caterina Harris Earl, I love your shirt. Show them what your shirt says, Caterina. Rule maker, baby. Okay. That's it. That's
Rule maker. That part right there. So we'll talk about it tomorrow, but it's very interesting. I'll just say this. People want to know how you could be a Christian, and even if you are not a proponent of abortion, how you can not be in favor of folks that don't, right. How you cannot be in favor of wanting to put that decision in the hands of folks that haven't had your best interest at heart. And, I don't know how people cannot understand the political difference between as it compares to the religious difference. So this is a day to stay woke, be woke, because it's happening all around us. So
yes. And you know what, Caterina, to add to what you're saying, I think you can be, your personal belief can be that you don't believe in abortion, but you can also believe that a woman has a right to choose. I believe that God gives us a right to choose whether we want to be a Christian or we don't. He doesn't, we're not robots. He didn't make us where we couldn't have but one choice, and that is to believe in him. So he gives us a choice. And I really don't think that you can legislate what you consider to be righteousness or what you consider to be holiness, because once you do that, that goes down a slippery slope. Right. I mean, how do you legislate adultery? How do you legislate liars and cheaters and all of that? How do you legislate that? So I just believe that you can absolutely have your opinion about whether or not abortion is right based on your Christian belief. And I also believe that you can absolutely believe that it is right for a woman to choose. So, I definitely want to say that, because sometimes we think it's just black and white. You got to be all for one or you're against the other.
Right. I think that's what makes the conversation so important, is that when it narrows down to what are we really talking about here? Are we talking about abortion? Are we talking about rights? Are we talking about who gets to make the decision? Are we talking about who's going to be the representation for the people? Are we talking about, is Congress really representing the politics or the belief of the people? What is it that they're going after? And when is it so important that it's political versus what is the vote of the people and what they want? When does it come to you select people because they believe in what their constituents want versus what they want that's going to allow them to have more power and prestige versus what they're doing. So it's a very difficult time. But the other thing that Sabrina thinks that is that, we go back in time. Like it's a big going back in time. And to me, the same thing with the war. I mean, we just keep going back in time, fighting over some of the same issues back in time again.
I mean,
So there's a lot of
suppression,
issues.
The things that we're fighting for now is what our grandparents fought for. So it's like,
right.
Wow, how far have we really come? And how has society led us back to this point? How do we get back to this point? It's like we've advanced so far in so many ways, and we've gone backwards in so many ways. So I don't know.
Yeah. I know. Well, that's why we got to show like we got issues. We got to show like we got issues because we have to keep pressing forward because we can't get weary in the fight. And here's the thing. The war to me shows that the fights come back over and over again. They say history will repeat itself over and over again. That's why we have to tell the history. And that's why we're fighting for the history to be told, because if the history is not told, people don't know that it comes back over and over and over again. I mean, it's just a lot going on right now. It's just a lot. But we got a guest today. And so we're going to go into that guest and we're going to talk about trademarking. We're going to talk about business. We're going to talk about moms. We're going to talk about entrepreneurship. So as I bring up Sa'cha Brakins, I would love for you guys to bring her on stage. I'm so excited about Sa'cha and what she represents. She's excited. How you doing, Sa'cha? Very excited. Very excited.
How are you? Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. Let me tell
Super
them
happy
a
to
little bit
be
about
here.
you. She's a business attorney and coach with a passion for building businesses, wealth, and legacy, which we absolutely love here. Sa'cha's focused on business and intellectual property law and asset protection strategies. Her background is in music. She and her husband, Tony, founded a boutique booking agency, which is very interesting to us because you're in the music industry and the Ellises are getting ready to get into the music industry. They got a studio, they got a hit record on Apple Music. So this is sort of really perfect. Her agency's out of Los Angeles, where she spent over 6 years as a hip hop booking agency working with some of the music greats. We want to hear some of those great names.
Yes.
During law school, Sa'cha began coaching creative entrepreneurs and hosting business workshops. In this role, and through various coaching programs, she successfully helped dozens of entrepreneurs and creatives property start and strategically grow money-generating businesses. She uses her law degree and vast business background to help entrepreneurs understand, grasp, and implement winning strategies for their businesses and their brands. Her hands-on approach pushes her clients to generate real dollars by monetizing. Let me say it one more time. Monetizing. Let me say it one more time. Monetizing their strengths and expertise. Her ultimate goal is to see her clients all build generational wealth and a strong legacy for their families. When not building, you can find her sipping mimosas. Ain't that cute? Quoting Jay-Z. Ain't that cute? And traveling with her husband and her kiddos. So I asked Sa'cha to please come on board. Give her a big round of applause, you guys. Give her a big round of applause. Please come on board. Before we go to our 3:15 break, Sa'cha, I asked you to brag all about you. So brag all about you. Tell us a little about you. Just act like we don't know anything and tell us how super bad Sa'cha is.
You know what? I appreciate you. And you're right. I think that us as women, it is really important that we do take time to not only give flowers while we're here, but also accept them. So thank you very much for all of the kind words. To be honest with you, I am really good at what I do. It's two-sided coin. Everything that I touch is turning to gold right now. And I know that it's a God thing. I know that I am walking directly in my purpose and I cannot go wrong. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. So I am just blessed to be able to serve the incredible women that I serve, in addition to a thriving law practice in which we are getting businesses not only properly formed, but properly owned, right? We're making sure that their assets are their assets. We are protecting their genius. We are changing their lives. In addition to that, I also have an incredible mastermind program for Black women building their empires. It is a one-year program, a lifetime sisterhood, And when I tell you we are building brick by brick, side by side, and it's something like I've never seen before. So definitely, like I said, I know that I'm just in a position. I am used as a tool to generate wealth. So blessed to do that.
Yes. We're excited. We're going to have questions for you. We're going to have a conversation for you. Call us. If you're listening to We Got Issues, you got to call in today at 313-778-7600. It's going to take courage, but your courage will be appreciated and your questions will be answered. So call us as we talk about building generational wealth. We'll be right back at you. Here we go. Here we go. Yes, yes. For those of you who are tying into We Got Issues for the very first time with the Force of Friendship, we are so excited that you're joining us. TheForceOfFriendship.com. Tell your girlfriends about it because the community is growing off the chain. We're growing off the chain and we're very excited about you guys traveling with us this year as we open up. You guys coming to see us as we open up. You guys learning and leaning in as we open up. This is so great. Sa'cha, we're excited to have you as one of the new tribes of the Force of Friendship. Glad to have you. We're an organization that is serious about the fact that we've been incredible friends for over 30 years. And we're teaching women the value of friendship, the value of staying connected, the value of lifting up each other and going hard when it needs to be. So tell us a little bit about your journey, Sa'cha, a little about your journey. You guys, let me just say this. When she told me she was married for 17 years, I started clapping. I said, oh, you're in the group, you're in the group, you're in the group. So tell us a little bit about you and a little bit about your journey.
Yes. So as you mentioned, I'm originally from Los Angeles. I met my husband when I was 16 years old. So pretty much we got married literally the week after. So the week after I turned 18. So I turned 18. 1 week later, I got married. The week after that, I actually graduated high school. So my family had plans for me. I got a full ride scholarship. I was just like, you know what? I think that it's time for me to settle down, So I gave up my scholarship. I got married. We had a little one shortly thereafter. And it was really, really important to me, being a teen wife, being a teen mother, that I made sure that I did everything that everyone was saying I wouldn't do because of that circumstance, and making sure that my child didn't become a statistic. I didn't. So it was really, really important for me that we, kind of broke a lot of those stereotypes about, starting a family young and kind of going that way. And taking my own path, right? Taking the unbeaten path. So I'm definitely an advocate for the advancement of, women, and just making sure that we know that you can balance it all. You can be a mom and still be a powerhouse. You can be a wife and still be a loyal friend. You can be, all of those things. It's okay to be a
Right.
CEO. It's okay to take control of your destiny and decide where you're going to land. So,
Right. Well, we got tons of
absolutely.
questions about how your parents said yes at 18. Forget all the rest of that.
Right. Well, that's why I waited until I was 18, right? So.
That is so
Absolutely.
exciting. Now, how old are your children?
So we have a 17-year-old. He's actually graduating this year. Prom is next weekend. So I am going through it. He is our oldest. We also have a 9-year-old princess. And then we have a 7-year-old. That is our little icing on the cake. So.
Okay, so now take us through. You got married 1 week after 18. You didn't take on your
Yes.
scholarship, yet
No.
you ended up going to law school and you're an entrepreneur. So tell us
Yes.
that journey.
So essentially we started, the journey of I've always been very driven. That is something that my family saw in me at a really young age. So, I've always had some type of business, side hustle, a really entrepreneurial spirit. I know I was giving, manicures and trying to find out what chores I could do, to make money as a child. And that really transferred into adulthood, especially being a mother right at that point. I had a housekeeping business. I made Easter baskets, whatever it kind of took. But I always knew that I was probably the type that would be working for myself at some point, right, full time. So as our oldest started getting a little bit older, we ended up, my husband he did music. He did rap. Music, and he did it out of the garage. He had a studio inside of our home, and he was really, really passionate about it. I had always had a love for music. I had an uncle who owned a record shop, so I had a big CD collection, and hip hop and music was really a big part of both of our journeys. So I kind of came in and was more so helping out, and realized that I had a really good knack for it, especially the event planning side, as it relates to concerts and promotions and things like that. So we started booking artists, for shows and events, small clubs, small venues that nobody talks about, in the LA area. And really that just kind of grew and blossomed. And we were really good at it, had a really great time. And there were a couple of instances where we were paying attorney's fees, but we were kind of the little guy in the middle, right? So you have the club owners and the venue, the promoters and things like that. And to be honest, mostly rich white guys, right? And then on the other side of it, you would have the artists, right? They have their labels, they have management teams, and then we're just kind of the little guy in the middle, right? With our small team that came in for events. And there were a couple of situations as we started dealing with more high caliber artists that we found ourselves kind of like, something goes wrong, we'll lose everything. So that's what really got us to kind of bite the bullet and have me go on to law school. So applied for a bunch of law schools, got into a few, but San Diego offered me an amazing scholarship opportunity. So we packed up the small humans, we shut down the business, and we made the trip to sunny San Diego, where I embarked on law school. Full time. Yes, the baby was actually nursing. So little Noah, it was about time for him to stop. So don't feel too bad for him. It was time. It was time to cut it, but he wasn't quite ready yet. So we came to law school. Again, like I said, shut down the businesses. We were living off of savings, credit cards, prayers, and a dream. And we, went through, I got through with flying colors. I did really well in law school. I passed the bar on my first try through a pandemic.
Awesome.
So
That's
yes,
big.
thank you
That's
so
huge.
much.
In California? That's huge.
Yes, in California.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's big.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's big.
Yes. All the horror stories that they say about the California bar are true. I'm here to tell you it's as bad as they say, but we made it through. So
okay, so let me ask this question, because you go into trademark law. So I want to know what led you into trademark law, anything other than the incidents that you had to deal with. And as the women are listening today, what would you tell them because just listening to the fact that you shut down your family, your husband had to leave, you had small babies, you said you're still breastfeeding, but you went forward and did it anyway. What was the big deal that would make that happen that didn't cause you to shut down?
You know what? I really believe that it really comes down to grit and faith. It's hard work, right? I can't say that it was an easy journey, but when you make a decision, you kind of have to see it through, in my opinion, right? So I think that it was just a matter of, one and done. I didn't want to do it again. And probably a bit of it was proving the world wrong, right? So we sucked it up and did what needed to be due, and I'm forever grateful. Also, to my husband Tony, and then also to our children for really allowing me to take that journey, because I was gone like 16 hours a day. I would come in and love on the babies, but it was really, really difficult emotionally. On probably more me than anybody else. The kids had a lot of cereal because Dad was in charge. Besides that, though, it was mostly a journey of me.
What about the part, Sa'cha, of other people's opinions? When you have women on this show, we've had a lot of guests on the show, and they've had to fight other people's opinions about what absolutely, you heard it all when you made that decision.
Yes. Yeah, you know what? It's one of those things where you have to have strong will, and especially when you're in the kind of line of work that I'm in and that I've been in, heavily male-dominated industries. There is a lot of people that are going to count you out, but really you have to rely on your own understanding. Surround yourself with people who do believe in you, who do know that you're going to do all the things that you say and put your heart to and put your mind to, and really just believe in yourself. I think it's a mind over matter thing, because it does hurt, right? Words hurt. There's might be people around you that you think have your best interests, and then when you go against the grain, they don't like it too much, and that happens. That's part of the draw, and it's just one of those things where at the end of the day, you have to do what you're called to do. You have to, do your purpose work.
Right. Okay. So tell us a little bit about the business. Tell us a little bit about what your business does as you open up to the mastermind. Yes. So definitely. So my plan originally was to go right to entertainment law. So I was still going to do IP, which is, copyright, contracts, trademarks, patents, right? Like that type of thing, helping creatives. I didn't fall in love necessarily with entrepreneurs until law school. So in law school, my husband, I told you, we were in business together. He is an app and web developer as well. And he started doing app and web projects. And we were finding that there was some amazing, mostly Black entrepreneurs coming to him and, paying for websites and things like that and, apps. But they didn't have a business license. They didn't have a business plan. They didn't have a marketing. It was just like they had an idea and then they got the domain and got the website, right? And I was like, we have to fix this. We have to do something. So we started hosting really incredible workshops here in San Diego. We would host these workshops. We would have business owners come out. I would feed them, give them mimosas, pour into them, and teach them business strategies. So that kind of transition, after law school, I still had a plan to go back into the entertainment industry. And to be honest with you, God said no. He said, serve these women, serve these businesses, serve these entrepreneurs. So that is what I am doing. Like I said, we're really all about, with the law firm and with the mastermind, everything that I'm doing, everything that I'm involved in is really all about unlocking access to information, access to resources, and making sure that the people that I serve have every tool at their disposal to close the wealth gaps, to close, really just not knowing, right? And not knowing what direction that they need to go in to build real wealth for their families. Excellent. So is it a trademark business per se?
Yes.
Because when we come back, I want to get into the falls that people make and what mistakes we make, because we have women who start to rebrand themselves and the trademarks and the logos and what you see as a time. We're going to be opening up for the girlfriends to ask questions, but also for our callers that we got issues. If you have a question, we want to hear from you, because Sa'cha's ready to answer your questions at 313-778-7600. We'll be right back after the break. Life is what you make it. Life is what you make it. Life is what you make it. Absolutely. Life is what you make it. And that's what we're making right here. We promise to give you powerful and positive and not Pollyanna. So we're going to go back to women doing some amazing things. But before we go to the women that are doing amazing things, we got our man Marathon on the call. He loves We Got Issue, and Marathon, we love you. What's going on, Marathon?
Hey, how you ladies doing?
We're so good. How are you today?
I'm doing fine. I had a question for your guests. When at one point did you know, hey, I'm doing this thing, I'm flying?
That is a really good. That is a really good question. You know what? To be honest with you, I still check in to make sure that I am on the right journey. But I think it really started happening when transformation wasn't just happening in my business, when my revenue goals weren't, doubling and tripling, but when it started happening for the people around me, right? So when I started getting, responses back and texts and DMs and calls and voice messages from people saying that they took my advice or they allowed me to help them and they were seeing real change in their businesses, is when I was like, okay, I think we're onto something, because it was working, right? When I started getting results, not only for myself, but for other people.
That's excellent. That's excellent. That's excellent. That'll make a
I have one more question.
okay.
Are you able to copyright your name?
So yes, and I think we're going to go into that a little bit more. There's actually, and let me know, Gloria, if I need to, so there's four
No,
parts.
this is great.
Okay, there's four parts to intellectual property law, okay? They all are going to cover different things. So there's trademarks, there are copyrights, like you just said, there are trade secrets, and there are patents, okay? Essentially how it breaks down, a trademark is what takes care of or covers you when it comes to, word marks. So your name would be included in that. Things like your slogan, logo designs, right? Even certain other characteristics that distinguish you. So, in other words, an example of that would be Nike, right? The words Nike is something that would be trademarked. The words, Nike with the swoosh symbol, right? The swoosh symbol is something that you would trademark. The words Nike with the swoosh symbol, and then, the words just do it, or the slogan, just do it under it.
Right,
Those are all going to be things that you would protect under trademark. A copyright, on the other hand, protects tangible things that you've created, right? So, for example, I always give the saying, if I was to say a beautiful poem right now, obviously we're recording, so it would actually be protected. But if we weren't recording or we go off air and I tell the beautiful host here a beautiful poem, and someone takes it and makes it their own, or they record it, they write it down, and I haven't, they would actually be the owners of the copyright. So in this instance, I think that trademark law would be a little bit more applicable when it comes to your actual name. If you did an ebook or a breakdown of, the S in my name stands for simple, and and that type of thing, then that would be a copyright. I hope that makes sense.
Thank you.
Of course.
Okay. Thanks, Marathon. Who has a question for Sa'cha? Anybody?
I got
Sabrina?
a question. Sa'cha, great job doing what you do, making a difference for so many in the business world. For sure, making a difference. Now, being in that market, LA, huge market, lots of entertainment. Are you pretty much by referral? How do people find you? How do you go after clients? Tell us about developing, creating, because when you said with confidence, everything I touch turns to gold. I'm like, sign me up. I want Sa'cha, okay?
Love it. You know what? I pray every day that the Lord send me people to serve. And to be honest with you, most of my business, now we do outreach. I try to go out there and actually be with the people. I try to educate. I think two major keys here. Number one, a lot of my business is referral business. and return business, because I actually care. I'm very targeted and very transparent about who I call Mrs. Smith, which is essentially my client profile, my target market, right? She's literally my best friend. And I suggest to people in business, find who your Mrs. Smith is and serve her, right? Not serve her to get paid, not serve her to get rich, or him, right? You might have a Mr. Smith. Serve whoever those people are that are actually your customer and actually there for you, and they'll return the favor. It'll come full circle. So definitely, I think just making sure that you're giving really, really good service, and that you actually care and you're passionate about what you're doing for who it is you serve, or the product that you're delivering to who it is you're delivering it to, right? On the other hand, on the other side of that, I think a lot of it is just, again, the education piece. I'm never trying to do, a get rich quick, I'm actually doing the work. And I think going out there and really answering questions, letting people know what they don't know about trademark law, about business law. Typically, business and trademarking, IP, intellectual property, a lot of people still don't know what intellectual property even means, right, or what it covers. So I think it's really, really important, especially in the communities that I serve, that I start with the education. I'm not trying to make a quick sale. I'm trying to make sure that I'm educating them on how to protect their genius.
Right.
Wow,
Okay.
that is
Excellent.
so good.
Excellent.
I have a question,
I have a
Sa'cha.
question.
Oh, great.
Oh,
Okay.
I have a question. Sa'cha, loving the conversation, and we love having girlfriends that are experts in every field. This is so important, and I think maybe not the first thing that business owners think of. Small businesses, you're in Canva, you're making a flyer, you're doing something, and you just grab a picture off of Google. How do you check to make sure that your business is not using something that down the line you could be like you weren't licensed, like a picture that you find on a Google search?
So, you know what, it's really on a case-by-case basis. Unfortunately, I know that that's like the harder answer. Typically, when you're on Canva, when you're able to use the pictures that are within those types of platforms like Canva, right, or even Google, different documents, a lot of times those are out there because they're almost like free use, right? Meaning whoever the original owner is either sold it to Canva or, are fine with other people using it. It's really not until you go to someone else's website or, take pictures that don't belong to you that are not free use, right? And start using those, or the content or the words that are on other people's, copyrightable or protected spaces, right? So typically a quick Google search will be fine. It's only, again, when you're infringing on someone else's rights or you're trying to get it off as yours, right? You're not giving credit. You're not taking time to disclose where you got it from. I do, it's called like an IP audit that I do with a lot of clients. So we take a look before we actually trademark anything for anyone, before we, ever copyright anything for anyone. We are taking time in my firm and making sure that it doesn't belong to someone else. You know what I mean? Whether it's by mistake or intentionally. And if it's the case, right, you grabbed a picture, you made an ebook maybe, right? You have some pictures that are yours. Worst case scenario, we're like, hey, here's the number to a great photographer. Go on and get a photo shoot, right? And let's use your own pictures if they're in question.
Interesting.
That is so good. I have a question, Sa'cha. Again, thank you so much for joining us on today. You said earlier that a lot of times when people come or start a business, they just jump out there and they haven't really prepared or done the back work before they did the, jump out there because they have a great idea and they're passionate about it, they're excited about it. So what would you say are the top one or two things that entrepreneurs should not do before they have this great idea and bam, the first thing they want to do is go on social media and start talking about it? Right. What should they do?
Which I now, mind you, I understand, right? I'm an entrepreneur too. I set on ideas that I want to just tell the world about. A couple of things. Number one, write it down and put it somewhere secure. Like I said, right? If you have a great idea, before you share it with anyone, you can at least establish some common law rights to it, right? So write it down before you share it with anyone. Number two, even now, if you're in business, you should find a lawyer that you trust. You should find an accountant that you trust, right? Those are the two major keys.
You said a lawyer and what else?
A lawyer and an accountant.
Okay,
Yes.
yes.
Those should be probably the first conversations that you're having. If you're still in the 9 to thrive phase, right? You're working your 9 to 5, you're trying to thrive. Make sure that those are kind of the first kind of conversations that you have, just so you do it right the first time, right? Definitely, it's okay to have that, those ideas, but you want to make sure you at least do that search and have an understanding and be solid in whether or not it's going to be okay for you to use the brand that you're creating, right? And that's just going to save you a lot of heartache. You don't want to pour time, money, effort, right? Putting it all over social media, promoting it, running ads behind it, and then someone says, oh, I own this. Actually, here's a cease and desist letter, shut it down, or you're going to have to give me every drop of your profit. Everything that you've made, you have to return to the actual owner, right? So it's really, really, it's serious. I hear horror stories every day. So I just try to, in a friendly enough as possible way, but still with stern words, because I do care, right? Make sure that people know that, and if you have a great idea, we want to make sure that it was nobody else's great idea first, right? Before we go too far in promoting it as ours.
One of the things that I found in the research was how many people go to jail for trademark. Like,
Wow.
It's I'm looking for, okay, here it is. Reports the average age of offenders is 43 years old, 81% are male, 81% are U.S. citizens. The median infringement amount per case is $266,000. 43% of the offenders receive prison sentences. And an average of 25 months.
Stealing my stuff.
I mean, this is like serious.
Wow.
So I'll say this, right? The likelihood that if you infringe on someone, you're gonna land in jail is very, very low. However, right, typically when the courts get involved and things escalate, it's a situation where the court is holding the offender in contempt because they're refusing to stop, right? So usually when it escalates and the courts get involved, there's already been notification to the person who's infringing, like, hey, this actually belongs to me, right? It's kind of similar to like tax evasion and things like that, right?
Oh God, we gotta come back because I ain't trying to go to jail. We ain't trying to go to jail. We're the most creative creatures. We can come up with a new flyer. We can come up with a new slogan. We be slapping stuff on empower women, empower people, empower women. We have been up against it for sure. We're not trying to go to jail. So we're coming back to you, Sa'cha,
We're gonna keep you out.
just a minute because we got issues. You are listening to 910 AM, the Superstation, WFDF out of Detroit. One of the oldest stations, definitely one of the oldest in the urban areas. And so we're excited to be here with us and have you in our tribe. We'll be back to you in just a few minutes. Okay. We are here. We are here to learn. Oh my gosh. Eric is moving to Venezuela. Lord have mercy, Eric. You know we need to hear more about that. You guys, we got to hear more about our tribe be moving, leaving the country. Listen, you guys, I want to talk about the 5 benefits of trademarking, and then Sa'cha, you can tell us a little bit more about it. But number 1, the federal trademark registration protects against infringement. We talked a little bit about that, infringement. It talks about nationwide validity, that when you have a trademark, it gives you validity. And you could talk maybe a little bit more about that. It talks about it's a valuable asset. As a business owner, you're going to buy many things, refrigerators, marketing materials, brochures, but those things won't go up in value. But a registered trademark could go up in value. And if it's not trademarked, you're going to be in trouble. The 4th reason they talked about is that it helps customers find you, especially when you have a strong presence online. If you're going to have a strong presence online and you're going to be using it, you're going to have your trademark so that they can find you. A strong trademark should be memorable and easily recognized. And the 5th one, they said it's a springboard to international registration. Before you can do international registration, you got to do your country's registration. And then when you want international registration, you have to register in different countries. And I think what's interesting here, Sa'cha, is because of the online presence, international comes at us much faster than it ever did before. You know, we don't even have to go over there before we're selling over there, before we want to get recognized over there, before we want to use that. So I'd love for you to expound on any of those or expound on some of the challenges that you find that female businesses have when they're going for their trademarks.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think the biggest part of what you said, and those are all very, very valid. I don't think that we necessarily understand. Typically, when people call me, especially, you know, a lot of the women of color, Black women that I work with, it's to shut down a copycat, right? Or it's because someone's trying to shut them down. What a lot of, and that's where the education piece comes. One of the things that I love that you said is that it is very, very valuable, right? Before we can talk bigger business, right? Before we can talk licensing agreements, before we can talk franchising agreements, before we can talk mergers and acquisitions, right? Those are all things that require you to own the brand that you are trying to leverage, right? That's where the wealth is, right? I try to go where the money resides, as they say. So, you know, the money resides in all of those things that I just mentioned. And the first conversation is before you try to license it, you know, overseas or within these United States, right? You have to own it before you can license it. You have to own it before you can sell it for a profit. You have to own it before you can control what happens to it, right? It doesn't matter if you have been using a phrase or using a slogan or using a brand name for 20 years, yes, there are common law rights. However, you still don't own it until you own it. You see what I'm saying? So I think that that's probably the most powerful conversation. It's just letting people know that you can do so much with your ownership. And the same thing with copyrights. You can do a lot with patents. You can do a lot with all of those things. Once you own it, it becomes yours, and it's literally an asset that you can take with you. You can pass down, right? You can make sure does work for your family and for your business in the long run.
Hey, Sa'cha, I have a question real quick. Do you think one of the reasons why people don't get a trademark or copyright is because in their mind they can't afford to do it, and so they're trying to kind of go under the radar? Can you kind of talk about the expense that goes into getting a trademark or copyright?
Yes, absolutely. I will say this. I'm going to tell a quick little story because I have attorney-client privilege, so I can't really expand on everything, you know, personal stories. But I had a young lady, had a conversation with her. She had a scrub business where she was creating scrubs. We had a conversation. She was going to trademark, kind of decided not to. Got they were giving a lot of funding for businesses through SBA and PPP and all the, insert all the funding here. She got a nice size check. She was supposed to go on and start the trademark process, but instead she spent, I think it was $20,000 to $25,000 or so on inventory for what she was selling, because she had a market. They were flying off the shelves, and she got a not so friendly cease and desist letter, and all of the inventory that she put in, she could not use. Her business was essentially shut all the way down. And a quick search on my behalf from my firm could have saved her. So it's typically around $14.95. I do have specials. I do have payment plans. I do take Klarna, right? So we work with the people that we serve to make sure that it gets done, even if we have to go a little slower, right? But it could have saved her. And typically when people come back, they can't answer office actions. Most applications fail at the office action phase. It's easy to put the application in because it's a computer, but when a real person gets it on the other side and starts going over it, and if you can't answer the questions that they have or explain yourself, that's typically when the applications fail, or you have to pay, $5,000 to $10,000 just a retainer to get started. If you have to go to court, you're looking probably at a six-figure bill if we have to litigate. So it's better to make payment arrangement,
in the front
in the front end. Yeah, take care of it. Do it right the first time. It's going to save you more than it's going to cost you. And that's and copyrights. They're not very expensive at all typically.
So if you have a slogan or you have a logo, do you trademark it and copyright it?
It depends on the use. Let's say you're a business coach, right? I would serve a lot of coaches. If you're a business coach and you have your brand name, right? You're, the beautiful business coach, right? That would be something that you would trademark. If you have some type of, program, right? The beautiful way to, build your business, right?
Right.
You could trademark that. Now the material, so the videos that you create, the content, the worksheets, those would all fall under copyright. So you see how, and then if you have a brand new formula or way to do something that hasn't been done before, that would likely involve, trade secrets or patents or both. So it's very easy for one business owner to utilize all these various areas of intellectual property law in order to make sure that they're fully protected, all the way around. So the first thing we do, and we do offer free discovery calls. So if anyone listening, has a question about, can I trademark this? Should I trademark this? Is it a copyright thing? We had that conversation and help you, discover and determine what goes in what box, right? How we can protect you fully, what that looks like, and then we'll make suggestions, on what should come first, second, third, right? So we're definitely there to help guide the process.
Well, this is super interesting. Okay, so let's talk about this. Partners. When you start a business with partners and there's a name and it's got value, how do you deal with that value? How do women get into that or men get into that where you have a trademark, but now it's time to value it?
Yes. You know what? To be honest with you, beyond a trademark, beyond a copyright, beyond a LLC, a S Corp, whatever entity, your partnership agreement means the difference between everything. Okay. Typically when we enter those relationships, and I think it's more, this is going to be more geared towards women, what I'm going to say next. A lot of times we are more excited. And I think just, it's the sisterhood, it's the love, right? It's we're doing this together. We're making something, we're building something. And we a lot of times let that get ahead of thinking about, well, what if this goes wrong? Right? What if we don't like each other anymore? What if you move away? What if I'm doing most of the work and you're not doing much, or vice versa? What does that look like?
Say that.
All of that.
All of it. Yeah. Lay that out. And again, same thing. I'm trying to educate on it. So we're starting to see more and more of people coming to me when they had that idea, when they're entering the relationship, right? And by bringing a lawyer in, or bringing a couple lawyers in, right? What that does, it allows you to keep the friendship and all the excitement and the rainbows and the butterflies and the romantic phase of your business building intact. But we'll ask the hard questions and we'll plan for those what ifs. Typically, if it's a 50-50 partnership, we would split the value 50-50. If it's a 30-70, right, whatever that case is. And we typically
or it's 25, 25, 25, 25.
Whatever, yes, or that. Yes, or that. That's
Sa'cha,
the
we have
way.
loved having you, your energy, your
Yes,
expertise,
thank
your
you.
passion, your journey, your marriage, your motherhood, all of it,
Thank
all of it.
you.
So exciting. From 18-year-old married to a fabulous business, we're so excited that we had you and we got issues.
you.
You brought some issues to the plate today, and we're very excited about it. This is the Force of Friendship, you guys. We're here every day, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tell your girlfriends, tell your tribe. Let's get us all together. Let's all gather together and make each one of us better for today and better for our future. We absolutely love you, Sa'cha. Thank you so much, and we appreciate you guys. We'll see you tomorrow, 6 p.m.
Thank you,
Eastern
ladies.
Standard Time. We got issues. Bye-bye.
Bye.